Imagine a world without cell phones for a moment. Whether it's a flip phone or a smartphone, these gadgets have and will continue to shape the rest of the 21st century. However, while users grew accustomed to having practically everything they could ever want at their fingertips, fraudsters were hard at work setting up shop. Having these technological advancements helped not just civilians, but also criminals to communicate secretly. If you're with me so far and want to hear more, like this video and subscribe for more stories like this one. But now, let's dive in. The Dutch National High-Tech Crime Unit, NHTCU, is a committed unit inside the Dutch National Police Agency that looks into sophisticated kinds of cybercrime, and they have made some astounding discoveries. Text communications received using Blackberry mobile devices and protected by the purportedly impenetrable PGP encryption were deciphered by the Dutch NHTCU. Because of this, the police were able to read texts that contained murder orders. An encryption method called Pretty Good Privacy, PGP, is used for both transmitting encrypted emails and encrypting private files. Since its creation in 1991, PGP has established itself as the industry norm for email security. PGP's popularity is based on two things. First, it was initially made available as freeware, so customers who sought an additional layer of security quickly adopted the system. Second, since it uses both symmetric encryption and public key encryption, PGP enables users who have never met to transmit encrypted messages to one another without exchanging private encryption keys. The Dutch THTC said last year that as part of a criminal investigation, it had decrypted text messages transmitted via Blackberry mobile handsets provided by the company Ennetcom, whose servers the police had taken possession of and cloned in 2016. The PGP encryption on Blackberry phones, which was said to be impenetrable, was supposedly a popular method of communication for organized crime in the Netherlands. In May 2018, a Dutch court condemned a man who went by the pseudonym Novel to 18 years in prison, partly on the basis of evidence from decoded messages that showed he had authorized the killing of another person. The method used by the THTC to decrypt a message is a secret. According to Mark Stevens, a cryptographer at the Centrum Wiskunde en Informatica, CWI, the Netherlands' National Research Institute for Mathematics and Computer Science, the most likely explanation for the decryption has something to do with the unique secret keys for each user being generated and kept on the main server in Canada. A court filing from September 2016 indicates a Canadian judge authorized the transmission of the material from the Ennetcom servers to the Dutch police. The connection is easy to make. Users should always generate their own private keys, said Stevens. PGP encryption by itself is still unbreakable, but it doesn't offer any protection if your private keys are not safe as well. This type of digital evidence collection is odd, in that no human ever reviews the entire dataset. Millions of text messages produced by thousands of users were stored on the Ennetcom server. The evidence in this case came from multiple iterations of automated server searches, interspersed with human intervention. This begs the question of how the judge can be certain that the evidence provided was a fair representation of the volume of data overall. Perhaps significant conspirators were missed during the data search, or perhaps the search was slanted towards turning up embarrassing information. A straightforward statement like, "only kidding," can dramatically alter the meaning of an earlier message and may go unnoticed. Even if the suspect is aware of this, admitting to sending any of these communications might not be in his or her best interests overall. The Netherlands Forensic Institute, NFI's Hanskin forensic search engine was used to process and analyze gigabytes of data from the Ennetcom servers. Such processing typically includes unpacking archives, building an index system, and other tasks including retrieving deleted files from hard drives. Hanskin was thus employed by the THCT to extract criminal conversations from the data. At the start, only Dutch language messages were chosen, but due to the extensive usage of slang and mistakes in these text conversations, even this was not an insignificant workload. It was assumed that talks labeled as criminal would include one or more of many keywords or nicknames that the THTC had accumulated. The prosecutor asserted that users of the ostensibly secure Ennetcom phones would naturally substitute code terms like fruit and put to sleep for illegal words like drugs and kill in their text messages. The list of keywords was increased to more than 100 after the initial automated search, and 2 additional rounds of search were conducted. Independent data scientist David Grouse was requested to investigate this procedure during the court case against Novel. Grouse claimed he had serious concerns about 2 key points after studying the NFI's documentation and working with Hanskin. First, the rudimentary technique used to choose conversations from the database, and second, the dearth of software documentation, because Hanskin is a machine that produces evidence from data, but the machine changes all the time. At the NFI, a group of digital forensics specialists developed Hanskin. According to a team member, Harm van Beek, Hanskin will never be finished. It's an arms race. We must keep up with new operating systems and cell phones that appear every year. Van Beek noted that a new version generally appears every 3 weeks. The NFI defines Hanskin at Digital Forensics as a service that processes multiple terabytes of digital material in a forensic context and gives easy and secure access to the processed results. The frequency inverse document frequency, TF-IDF, weighting technique is a technique which measures how frequently a specific phrase appears in a text and is used by Hanskin when conducting text searches. Grouse asserts that considerably superior context-based algorithms are now accessible and can search text for certain topics without resorting to random keyword selection. Additionally, because Hanskin lacks sophisticated image recognition capabilities, it suffers another shortfall and cannot, for example, search a collection of images for a certain face or weapon. Hanskin is being improved by the NFI, although cautiously. Team member Erwin van Eyck said, "We must give a forensic validation of every automatic search method, and that is far from easy. We cannot just choose what to keep or ignore." In contrast to the high-precision search that search engines like Google excel at offering, forensics require a high-recall search. You would anticipate a brief list of outcomes from a Google search that includes the most pertinent hits for your inquiry. However, police officers don't want to risk missing any potential evidence by assuming certain leads are bogus. Van Eyck stated, "On Instagram, you see this one nice selfie, but all the failed blurry selfies are still in that person's cell phone, and one of them may contain evidence." The Dutch police have been using Hanskin for a few years to examine all the digital material they have acquired. In one case, 140 terabytes were processed, a staggering amount, and the most Hanskin has ever processed for a single case. Although Hanskin can be used with a standalone computer, it is cloud-based in the Netherlands. A duplicate is uploaded to Hanskin every time the police sees gadgets that contain enormous amounts of data. According to Van Beek, reading data from a hard disk takes longer than the upload speed of our network. Therefore, uploading terabytes of data is typically not the bottleneck in the Netherlands. More than a petabyte worth of data from every case Hanskin has ever worked on is encrypted and kept in government data servers, where it can still be accessed online by numerous forensic investigators at once if necessary. Data scientist Grouse is concerned because Hanskin is a data goldmine for the police. He claimed that the process's lack of accountability has particularly astounded him. Law enforcement in the Netherlands now has access to the private messages sent and received by thousands of Ennetcom subscribers. But there are legislative restrictions on the police's ability to conduct phishing expeditions, at least in criminal situations. Likewise, intelligence agencies amass an enormous amount of data. In the Netherlands, a law was just approved that greatly expands their ability to gather internet data. Nothing about how they narrow in on suspects is known to the public, but picture terabytes of data from Twitter and Facebook being subjected to a keyword search, with terms like fruit and put to sleep, to find criminal or terrorist conversations, with the participants ending up on a secret watch list. Grouse remarked, "I sure hope they have something better than this." The tests were reportedly being carried out on PGP Blackberries, mobile devices with an additional layer of encryption offered by internet retailers like Ghost PGP and Top PGP. Although it appears that it does require physical access to handsets, the NFI declined to disclose specifics on how it decrypted texts from the devices. Cellebrite's forensic software is reportedly used by technology website Motherboard. Others hypothesize that the NFI might have taken a memory chip out and dumped the information from it. Not all messages could be decrypted by the NFI. The discovery was first published by the Dutch blog Crime Discovery, which claimed that 275 out of 325 encrypted communications had been deciphered. Advertised as being especially well-suited to those who want to keep their data safe, so-called PGP Blackberries have historically been associated with illegal activity. But according to Ghost PGP, its services were still not jeopardized. Yet such phones were reportedly being used by individuals responsible for a string of murders in Australia in 2014. According to the Sydney Morning Herald, police investigators visited Blackberry's corporate office to ask for assistance in decrypting data on the phones. And that's a wrap on this video about the cell phone's rise of encryption and crime. If you liked this video, show us with a like, and let us know how you feel about your data encryption in the comments down below. If you want more videos like this, please hit the subscribe button and turn the notification bell on so you never miss an upload. See you in the next video. Thank you for watching.